Hello and welcome. My name is Professor Claire Mackin and I'm Associate Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Learning and Teaching in the College of Business and Law here at RMIT University. And today we're going to tell you a bit about the Bachelor of Business programs at RMIT. This program includes 15 business majors and a range of minors to choose from, and lots of other wonderful features as well. And this new program is world innovative and allows students to learn across a variety of business disciplines to replicate the real world experience needed for your future careers. Next slide, thanks. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge the people of the Woiwurrung and Boonwurrung language groups of the Eastern Kulin Nation, on whose unceded lands we conduct the business of the university, and RMIT respectfully acknowledges their ancestors and elders, past, present and emerging. And while we conduct our work remotely, I want to pay my respects to the wider unceded lands of this nation. Next slide, thanks. And it is such a great pleasure today. Our commitment to reconciliation. So RMIT is committed to redefining its relationship in working with and supporting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders self-determination. The university's goal is to achieve lasting transformation by maturing its values, culture, policy and structures in a way that embeds reconciliation in everything we do. In line with the principles of Bunjil, we are changing our ways of knowing, working and being to support sustainable reconciliation and activate a relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous staff, students and the community. Excellent, thank you. Next slide. And it's really a great pleasure today to introduce you to my colleague, Associate Professor Jonathan Boymel, Bachelor of Business Program Director and Head of Teaching and Learning, who will tell you more about this exciting program. Welcome, Jonathan.
Thanks, Claire, and welcome everyone. It's wonderful to join you all today to talk about the Bachelor of Business and the Bachelor of Business Professional Practice. RMIT recognises its priority is to ensure our graduates are equipped with skills, capabilities, networks that are transferable to emerging worlds of work. Graduates need to be ready for their professional futures, whatever that looks like. So following an extensive review of our existing programs, together with student demand for increased study flexibility and compatibility with existing and upcoming career opportunities, we are delighted to announce the launch of our new Bachelor of Business suite in the College of Business and Law. This forward-looking approach to education ensures that graduates will be ready for their professional future, whatever that looks like, and whatever path our graduates choose. We'll now have a short video presentation that will touch on some key features of the new program suite, and after that I'll come back and discuss some of the highlighted features in more detail. Thank you. If we could play the video now, please.
In this new era of business, an age of globalisation, automation and digital commerce, change is the only constant. Our world's growing, shifting and evolving at lightning pace, and our careers are evolving with it. So how do you prepare for the roles of tomorrow, for jobs that may not even exist yet? At RMIT, we believe education is key, and our aim is to help you develop the skills that industry requires now and into the future. That's why we've developed our new Bachelor of Business. At most universities, students need to choose a major or specialisation before they've even started their degree. But at RMIT, we do things differently. We want you to develop your own personalised course of study, to have greater freedom to study what you choose and the flexibility to discover what you love. We want you to be the architect of your own educational experience. Our students can choose any one or two of our 15 majors and complement this with a choice of 35 minors. So you're free to explore a myriad of different courses, to think creatively, to map out new territory and rewrite the rules. You can combine specialisations like blockchain-enabled business or accounting with studies in creative and social disciplines like behavioural science or entrepreneurship. You can choose not to do a major at all and select across our entire range of business and cross-college offerings. You can change your mind and explore new subjects as your interests or goals shift over time. You'll develop a digital portfolio to build your confidence as an emerging professional and show off your achievements to potential employers. You'll work with industry, government and the community on projects, playing a critical part in solving real-world problems. And with no more traditional lectures or exams, you'll find out more about who you are and what's meaningful to you. In this self-curated program, your peers aren't there because they have to be. They're enrolled in subjects because they're curious, passionate and engaged. It makes RMIT an extraordinary place to learn. So find out what's next in business at RMIT.
Wow, that's really exciting. What I want to do now is call out some of those features and explore what you need to know about doing business at RMIT. And the first set of features that are really important are flexibility and choice. So we've revamped our Bachelor of Business suite of programs and designed a flexible degree so that students can have greater choice over their learning journey. We're offering 15 majors, including several new majors, and 35 minors. And we have a slide coming up in a few minutes with those details. You know, sometimes students feel that everyone in their year level has figured out what they want to study. In the new Bachelor of Business, it's totally okay if you're not sure whether you're destined to become a financial advisor or an entrepreneur or a marketing professional just yet. The degree will evolve with you, and you've got full flexibility to decide what's right for you at the time that's right for you. So as students are exposed to different hands-on experiences, they can adjust their degree along the way to pursue areas of study that actually speak to them, to try new things, explore new ways of thinking, or if they wish, continue with their existing specialisation. Another very important feature of the program revolves around industry partnerships and experience. With more active learning and no traditional lectures, students can discover more about who they are and what is meaningful to them. And in terms of assessment, a big focus is on assessment for learning and not just assessment of learning. We've moved away from exams, except where required for accreditation purposes, and an integral part of the learning experience is interacting with organisations. We've got program and course level industry partnerships with leading global organisations, including Amazon Web Services, Australian Red Cross, Adobe, Medibank. We've had industry involved in the design and development of our courses, ensuring that our courses address the evolving nature of challenges facing business. All students will apply their learning in real-world contexts by tackling real-world business problems and through this developing industry relevant experiences. The final feature that I want to call out is employability and lifelong learning. A significant focus of this degree is the development of transferable skills, those personal and professional capabilities that are valued in the workplace and will set students up as lifelong learners prepared for changing business careers. These skills and capabilities have the potential to unlock a huge number of jobs across many fields. So they include critical and creative thinking, mental flexibility, collaboration, working effectively in teams to achieve a particular outcome, self-awareness, self-motivation, coping with uncertainty, digital collaboration, data analysis and visualization, digital ethics, global awareness, and importantly for us, a commitment to social impact. All students will have access to a digital portfolio to build self-awareness. It'll enable them to reflect on the world of work and where they see themselves fitting in. It'll enable them to provide evidence of learning to demonstrate knowledge, skills, capabilities and personal accomplishments to prospective employers. We'll support students to build a narrative that can be applied to the work environment and demonstrate to employers how those skills might apply in very different contexts from where they originally learned them. And we'll be supporting students to do this in their capstone course. Next slide, please. Students can choose from a 3-year Bachelor of Business or a 4-year Bachelor of Business professional practice program, which offers additional professional experience and internship opportunities. In terms of our 3-year Bachelor of Business program, we have 4 foundation courses: Global Business Ecosystems, Business Analytics, Integrated Business Perspectives, and Business and Society. You're able to choose 1 major, you can choose 2 majors, or if you want, you don't have to choose any majors and you can craft your own journey. And even if you choose a particular major, it's unlikely that your journey through the program will be identical to any other students. And the reason why is that even within the major, we offer students options, electives, so they can tailor their major to what they're interested in. Next slide, please. So here we have a visual representation of the program structure. In the first year, students will be completing 4 business foundation courses, as well as 4 other courses. As you proceed through the program, you can take up to 2 majors or no majors at all. And at the end of your program, you'll be taking the capstone, which is related to the digital portfolio. Next slide, please. The Bachelor of Business Professional Practice is a 4-year program. It offers all the experiences of the 3-year Bachelor of Business program, but it includes an additional year that offers a flexible approach to professional and personal development. As part of the 4-year professional practice program, students will complete a study and work minor, which includes a virtual internship that will increase their professional preparedness. And students have the opportunity to undertake professional practice in the form of multiple industry internships. Students can also spend an additional year by working for themselves, undertaking a research project, or even studying overseas. Next slide, please. Here we have a visual representation of the Bachelor of Business Professional Practice. So again, as with our 3-year Bachelor of Business program, students will be taking the 4 business foundation courses. They'll also be taking a study and work minor, that's 3 compulsory courses, and a virtual internship to increase their professional preparedness. Again, they'll be taking the digital portfolio capstone, and they'll be able to undertake majors and minors as they see fit. Year 4 is a professional practice year, which again offers a highly flexible approach to professional and personal development. Next slide, please. Now, we know that many mature occupations have been transformed by data and technology and a focus on sustainability. And we've seen an increased prevalence of hybrid occupations that involve multiple skill sets. Now, all of these occupations can be pursued with curated courses, majors, and minors available through the Bachelor of Business. So as you can see here, and in addition to the evergreen majors of accounting and finance, economics, marketing, logistics and supply chain, for example, we've also added majors in blockchain-enabled business, social impact, business and technology, and innovation and enterprise. Next slide, please. And to support the preparedness for hybrid occupations, we've added minors in business analytics, cybersecurity, data insights, digital supply chain, behavioural science, and managing global teams. Next slide, please. In terms of career destinations, there are 3 major categories of occupations that can be pursued with the curated majors and minors in the program. First, we have the traditional evergreen professions, professions such as accountancy, finance, management, and so on. We also have hybrid professions, as I mentioned before, those jobs that combine multiple skill sets. So these are occupations that are being transformed by data analytics, by technology, including artificial intelligence, through partnerships, platforms, and a focus on human-centered design, and also sustainability and responsible business. The final category of career outcomes that the Bachelor of Business and the Bachelor of Business of Professional Practice will prepare our students for are emerging occupations, job titles that we haven't seen yet as a result of disruption and macro trends. You might be creating new job titles in the future as you pursue your interests and passions. And that's what the new Bachelor of Business empowers graduates to do. Next slide, please. As a new program, we don't have a clearly in ATAR from last year. However, this year RMIT is for the first time giving guaranteed offers. So for our new Bachelor of Business programs, you will receive a guaranteed offer with an ATAR of 70 or over for our Bachelor of Business, or 80 and over for our Bachelor of Business Professional Practice. And you'll see on screen that we also have prerequisite English scores for both of our programs. In addition, we also have pathways into our programs following the completion of a diploma or an advanced diploma. And I'll cover this in a little bit more detail on the next slide. If you have any specific admission queries, please post them in the Q&A, and our team of admission experts are on hand to answer them. Next slide, please. So as mentioned, we offer guaranteed pathways into our Bachelor of Business from a number of our vocational education programs, which is a great option if you just miss out on an offer. And all of these pathways guarantee entry into our program and still give you the opportunity to complete the Bachelor of Business within 3 years. Next slide, please. New this year is our early offer program. Now, this is a great scheme which allows you to secure an offer into one of our Bachelor of Business programs by the end of September. You'll be able to secure your place early, allowing you to be accepted on a lower ATAR than our guaranteed ATAR and taking some of the pressure off your final year of high school. And this is based on transferable skills and other life or personal experiences outside of the classroom. The deadline for this is the 5th of September. It's a competitive process, so if you are interested in receiving an early offer, please visit the early offer portal on our website. Next slide, please. Now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Simon Thornton, Director of the Bachelor of Business Professional Practice Program, to discuss some of the ways we connect with industry. Simon.
Thank you, Jonathan, and good morning to everybody. Wonderful to talk to you today. As the slide here shows, there are a number of ways in which our students can connect with industry. And in particular, I want to focus on a few of these. You can now have multiple, if you like, episodes to be able to sort of interact with industry throughout the years of your study. So that's just not one episode throughout a 3 or a 4 year program, but multiple times. And that can include also multiple or more than one internship. These internships can be from a few weeks to a few years. So it could be, you know, a shorter course whereby the internship takes place over a number of weeks, or it could last for a whole semester, or even about a year's time. These episodes can be fairly small. They can involve guest lectures, they can involve in-class projects, but they can also be quite deep and immersive internships within your host companies. These are genuine and, if you like, industry positions. They're not sort of temporary creative positions. And in terms of locations, they can be just around the corner here in Vic Metro. They can be across the Victorian region. They can be interstate and overseas, which might not seem possible right now, but we're talking about opportunities that will come up in the next sort of 2 or 3 or even further years. So very possible. Next slide, please. With that in mind, I'd like to introduce a short sort of video clip of an interview I conducted with Sam Quirk. Sam is a former business alumni and actually conducted a number of internships whilst he did a 4-year program with us. In particular, we did some internships with Adidas in Germany and Solomon in France. Can we play the short video, please?
My internships in Germany and France were probably the highlight of my time studying at RMIT. It was great to really develop a skill set in project management at my first internship, and then be able to really dive into customer experience in my second internship. So those skill sets have been really helpful in the current role I'm in now. Going into job interviews, you know, having done internships or having previous professional work experiences really give you something to talk to in your interviews. Your business degrees are really well-rounded, and if given the opportunity to tie that in with, you know, an intersection that you're really interested in, then that's a really great opportunity to take. Another thing I'd say is just to take, you know, all opportunities that present yourself, whether that be with sport clubs, whether that be with student associations or other extracurricular activities. It's a great way to meet new people. It's a great way to build skill sets outside of your studies. And again, it's really good for your employability. And a lot of what I had done through my extracurricular things at uni helped me to get my internships in the first place, when I was, you know, having to compete against hundreds of people for these internship positions. That's the advice I'd give if you're thinking about studying business at RMIT.
Thank you. That short clip there, which is about 90 seconds long, is part of a wider interview that I conducted with Sam. Sam is a very impressive young man who I remember from our applied program. And if you want to watch the video clip there, there's a link available to it via this presentation. Now, as I've mentioned, we work with a number of wonderful industry partners. We can't make this happen without the support and the partnership that we have with our industry connections. And in particular, I'd like to this morning introduce Amanda Robinson, who has a wonderful job title, which is Head of Social Innovation and Humanitech. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning, Simon.
Amanda, could you start by giving some context to our audience, please? Could you briefly introduce your role as Head of Social Innovation and what you do for the Australian Red Cross? Over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Simon. Yes, so as the title suggests, I'm Head of Social Innovation at Australian Red Cross. And what that means is I look for opportunities for us to innovate, not just within the organisation itself, but with a whole range of ecosystem partners. So social innovation is really about how do we create, you know, societal benefit at scale, and looking outside of the organisation, building partnerships, innovating in a way that as an organisation we couldn't do alone, which is hugely exciting. And RMIT is one of our partners in many of the different projects that we work on. Humanitech is a specific initiative that I lead, and that is around how do we leverage frontier technologies, emerging technologies to enable humanitarian impact at scale. Really exciting initiative, and again, you know, testament to both the sort of innovation that the sector is leading and also the many partners that we engage with.
Thank you, Amanda. That's a great job that you have there for the organisation. I wonder, can you briefly explain as well to the audience what your current involvement with RMIT is? What projects have you been involved with? How have you interacted with our students so far?
So Australian Red Cross has had at least a 3-year partnership to date, or a strategic partnership with the Global Urban and Social Studies School, and we have supported a number of RMIT students who come into the organisation to do internships. We are also the industry partner to the Centre of Automated Decision Making and Society, which again is a hugely exciting initiative looking at how automated decision making systems are being rolled out, and we believe very strongly in you know, having a role in those sorts of conversations. We are also engaged with the Blockchain Innovation Hub, and we work with RMIT across a number of different initiatives, including this business program, which is, yeah, again, really exciting.
Thanks, Amanda. That sounds great. And obviously, from what Jonathan was speaking about earlier, it sounds like there's some great links there to our new social impact major, and the fact that we're broadening the offerings to our students so they can take a pathway in things like social innovation throughout their studies and see it links into different areas. Thank you. With that in mind, what kind of qualities are you looking for as an organisation, as a social innovator, in our future undergraduates?
Well, as you can imagine at Red Cross, there's a number of different roles, from some of the more traditional roles, as we've talked about, around, accounting and finance and management, law. But increasingly, there are these new types of roles that are emerging that really start to look at how do we leverage technology, how are we using AI. And so these emerging types of roles, or hybrid roles as it's been described, I think it's a great way of describing it, are really starting to play out across the sector, and particularly at Red Cross. And Australian Red Cross is part of a global organisation, 191 national societies around the world. And so it's really fascinating to see the types of roles that are emerging, things like Chief Innovation Officer, Chief Data and Insights Officer. And so this sort of blend of, social impact, technology, we're starting to see that play out more and more. But really, the skills that we look for, apart from those sort of, I guess, subject matter expertise, if you like, are things like adaptability, tenacity. We live in an increasingly volatile and uncertain world, and we need to be able to navigate change easily, and not be too sort of confronted by that. I think whether it's in business or not-for-profit, we need to navigate things as these headwinds are coming at us. And so the ability to be able to think strategically, to be able to adapt, to be agile, but also, again, particularly in the sector, to think with a whole of society view, to be compassionate, to be empathetic. These are the sorts of skills that we need for future leaders. Things like, when you're engaging in a design process and working with community, the ability to think inclusively and to be empathetic is really important. So I'd say, to sort of sum up, tenacity, resilience, adaptability, curiosity and compassion. These are some of the skills that we really look for.
Thanks, Amanda. I think tenacity is a wonderful word to sum up that response. But I think it's great, again, from what Jonathan was talking about earlier, is we're not expecting young people watching this presentation today to have all these answers right now, to know exactly what they want to do, and to be able to sort of move forward in those hybrid careers. It's really important to be able to have those options and flexibility as they go. Final question from me, Amanda. Just obviously, what you've just explained sounds fantastic. Why is the Australian Red Cross so keen to be involved with RMIT, and in particular our students going forward? What is it about RMIT that excites you about our new partnership that we've got available? Over to you.
Well, yeah, thank you. So as sort of demonstrated by our partnerships, we've worked with RMIT for a number of years now, and always so impressed by the quality of thinking that comes out of RMIT. And I think that is evidenced by some of the really progressive initiatives that RMIT are leading. When we were invited to be a partner to this business program, I was absolutely thrilled to see the focus on social innovation, social impact. And to really start to think about, this next generation of business leaders that we're developing must have that sort of responsible business viewpoint, whether you're coming into a not-for-profit or into a big corporate. If we're not thinking about the impacts of the decisions that we're making that are going to have on the whole of society, then we're going to be challenged as we move forward as a community. And so that, I think that focus for me was really exciting. Obviously, social innovation is my bread and butter, but I think increasingly, as we do see, this world in which we are stepping into, and these leaders who are doing these courses are going to be stepping into, having that social innovation lens, starting to think differently about problems to solve, but as well as some of the really progressive subjects around blockchain technology. Again, many people think as a not-for-profit, we're not using these technologies, but we absolutely are. And having leaders that can be able to navigate both, technology, business, social innovation is going to be really, really important into the future.
Thank you, Amanda. That's great. I will look forward to working with you more closely as we move forward into the future. And thank you for your answers. I think I'm going to hand over now back to Claire, and we're going to do some general Q&A. Thank you very much.
Thanks so
Thanks,
much,
Simon.
Simon and Amanda. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to go to your questions now, and I see our moderators have been wonderfully answering your questions, but there's a couple that will go to the panel. So I'm going to actually ask the first question to Jonathan. So Jonathan, can you answer the question from one of our Q&A? There are no exams. Over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Claire. Great question. We have moved away from exams, except where they're required for accreditation purposes, and that's traditionally in accounting. And a major part of our learning experience is actually going to be interacting with organisations, that is industry, government, community, through relevant projects and internships as well. So it's important that students undertake learning activities and apply their learning in real world contexts, working on industry-based problems and producing impactful and relevant outcomes. We think that's the most effective way of preparing students for emerging worlds of work, and the best way to ensure that learning sticks, right, beyond the exam period, as well as ensuring that learning can be transferred across different contexts.
Excellent, thanks, Jonathan. I'll stay with you for the next two questions, actually. So you've heard a lot today in the presentation about flexibility and choosing your own pathway. Flexibility is great, but what happens if you need some direction and advice?
Absolutely, great question. I guess there are a couple of answers to that, Claire. The first is that the discipline experts within the university have curated the core courses in the majors. Okay, so it's not like you need to create your own accounting major or you need to create your own marketing major. There are core courses in all of our majors, and some of our majors allow internal choice. Okay, so that's a very important point. The second point is that we are developing a platform that will assist students in identifying complementary majors, complementary minors, and complementary courses to what their main area of interest is. So, for example, we might have a student who is interested in doing marketing, but doesn't know what other courses to take, what other disciplines to take. So there will be a platform that will support students to say, okay, well, for a particular career outcome in marketing, you might want to do a minor in data analytics, for example. So we'll have that platform. We've also set up our foundation courses so that students have a taste of different business functions. So in all of our courses, all of our foundation courses, our 4 foundation courses, we take a cross-disciplinary approach. Okay, so students will get insights from, let's say, the accounting function of an organisation, or the marketing function of an organisation, or the finance function of an organisation, and students then will be able to pick up on what speaks to them, what they're interested in, and that will then enable them to make more effective choices. So just to sum up, we've got curated majors, curated by leading practitioners and industry. We have our platform that will support the identification of complementary minors and majors, that will assist students in mapping out what's important for career outcomes. And then finally, we have our 4 foundation courses, each of them cross-disciplinary, so each of them providing students with an insight into the different functional areas of business, and they'll have an opportunity to listen to how those areas speak to them.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'm going to head across to Simon now for a question. So, Simon, what is the difference between the Bachelor of Business and the Bachelor of Business Professional program? We've introduced both of these programs today as new programs. What's the difference between them?
Thank you, Claire. Well, look, the first obvious difference is the Bachelor of Business Professional Practice is an extra year. So one is a 3-year program and one is a 4-year program. Fundamentally, across three of the 4 years, they are essentially the same. As Jonathan explained, there are some great new foundation courses. There are also then the choice of majors and minors, which you can combine to do 2 majors. You can combine to do lots of minors. The only difference becomes there is a compulsory minor, which is called Study and Work, which has courses such as developing professionally. There's also a course that we're delighted about called Impact Academy, which is the first introduction in a virtual way to a direct business industry engagement. So a virtual internship that we've now been running for about a year with our students. And so this is an introduction, all moving towards a very flexible final 4th year. So the 4th year of your professional practice degree is completely open to your choice. You can spend that year running your own business. You could spend that year doing a big research project. You could build on your previous industry engagement experiences. You may have a company that you've really liked working for, and you can balance study and work in that regard. We're also hoping down the track that we can have some overseas study options as well that we can bring in post-pandemic transport shutdowns. So they're the differences between the two. It's more of a kind of professional practice-minded degree, but it fits very much into the existing 3-year program as well. Thanks, Claire.
Thanks, Simon. And I'm going to go back to Jonathan now. So is all learning face-to-face, and how is this offered if not via traditional lectures?
Thanks, Claire. Great question. We take a blended learning approach, and by that I mean we offer both face-to-face learning experiences and online learning experiences. We know that a lot of learning needs to be social, so where there is interactive learning, we will have small group sessions. When that learning does not need to be interactive, then we want to offer learners convenience and flexibility so that they have the ability to control their own learning pace. And academic research suggests that blended learning gives learners a more comprehensive understanding of course content and is a more effective way of developing skills that students will need in the workplace.
Thank you so much. I'm going to start with you, Jonathan. A couple of questions, actually.
Sure.
So what is a digital portfolio? You've mentioned it today.
Sure. A digital portfolio is a collection of student-generated artifacts, assessment, evidence that encourages students to participate in reflective learning. And by that I mean to reflect on their development, their growth, their progress, both in a emerging professional sense, but also in a personal sense, to map their growing interests, passions, their strengths, and areas where they think additional work would be beneficial. You know, once students have acquired skills, it's very important for them to be able to build a narrative that can then be applied to the work environment. So students are normally very adept at telling potential employers about the courses they took or the internships they completed, but they're not great at being able to tell a story around the actual skills that they've learned. So it's more important than ever for students to demonstrate to employers how the skills that they learnt at university can be applied outside university, can be applied to the work environment. And that's the purpose of the digital portfolio. So we have a capstone course and we'll be supporting students to actually pitch to a variety of audiences using the body of evidence that they've collected about themselves, about how they've grown, about how they've developed, about how they've mapped their individual strengths. They'll be able to do that in our capstone course.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And just the other, there's actually quite a few questions on this, which is what's in the first 4 foundation courses in the first year? What do you actually learn?
Sure. Okay. So one thing that people will probably notice when they look at the 4 foundation courses is how it's a little bit different to some other Bachelor of Business offerings at other universities. You know, so in the past we've had 1 semester on marketing, or 1 semester on microeconomics, or 1 semester on business statistics. Now, this foundational knowledge is crucial, but a problem in having this very siloed approach is that students don't have an overarching perspective on how these different areas, these different functions are integrated within business. So we're taking a highly integrated cross-disciplinary approach so that when students come out, right, as graduates into the workplace, they're able to work as part of cross-functional teams. So in terms of the 4 courses that we have, we're offering a course on business decision making, which will cover some of the fundamental tools that businesses use to make decisions using financial and non-financial data. So we'll be bringing in fundamentals from accounting and business statistics and so on. We have a course on business and society, and we see the integration of business and society as an increasingly important theme, not just at university, but in emerging worlds of work. So there are many career opportunities now that focus on responsible business, whether that's to do with human rights or the environment, taking a look at how to work as part of a team when you have multiple diverse perspectives, which is incredibly important, and by the way is a tremendous source of innovation. We have another course that looks at the whole business environment, right? That's called Global Business Ecosystems. So we take a look at how all the players within the business world interact. So we have this overarching view of how business actually works. And then we have a course which is called Integrated Business Perspectives, where we actually get students to work on an industry project with industry input and feedback, so they can bring together what they've covered in their 3 other business fundamental courses and apply it to a business problem or a business challenge in a real world context. So we cover the business fundamentals, right? The same content in a sense that you'll find in other universities, but the focus here is on doing that in a way that will lend itself to our graduates being able to work in cross-functional teams, rather than saying, oh, I did a semester of marketing and I passed it, I did a semester of accounting and I passed it. The other important thing about the foundation courses is we're not just interested in business content, but we're interested in those transferable skills that I mentioned before. So those transferable skills around, collaboration, working with teams, data visualization, self-awareness, they'll all be embedded into those 4 business foundation courses.
Thanks, Jonathan. That sounds amazing. And another question for Simon this time from the Q&A. Internships guaranteed for all students?
Thanks, Claire. The quick answer is no, they're not, because we like to look at the internship opportunity as a kind of dress rehearsal for the play that is your professional life once you finish university. So whilst they're not guaranteed, what they are is assisted. So we have a wonderful team of student support staff. We have a wonderful team of industry, if you like, sort of engagement professional people. And what we do is we're constantly sourcing roles and jobs, and we post them on a centralized career hub website, and often link them to the various different courses that they are assigned to. So there's still a requirement for students to do their own research, to do their own applying, to make their own applications, to conduct interviews with employers like Amanda, and then to receive an offer of acceptance. So nothing is guaranteed. The only exception to that is that our new introductory course, the Impact Academy course, that is a guaranteed virtual internship to get you started. But then what we're offering students is a chance to sort of build their own story, build their own narrative, as Jonathan was saying there, over the period of the next sort of 3 or 4 years, depending on which program they're doing, to the point whereby they feel they have the right level of confidence and they've built up their own networks and contacts that they can go and find the internship that they want to choose. And that final year of professional practice, completely open to you to choose whatever you want to do. So nothing is guaranteed in that regard, but there's lots of help and assistance along the way. Thanks, Claire.
Thanks, Simon. I'm going to start with you actually, and just really quick last question, and you've got probably 20 seconds. What is the best features of the Bachelor of Business professional practice?
Thanks, Claire. How can I sum that up in 20 seconds? Look, it is about how you can build your future professional career. As I mentioned before, it's about networking. If I boil it all down to one quick word, it's confidence. How can you gain greater confidence to become a future professional in whatever form that takes? As Amanda said, lots of different options. The professional practice degree will help you build that confidence through experience and industry engagement. Thanks, Claire.
That's awesome. Thanks, Simon. Same question for you, Jonathan, to finish up for today. Can you sum up the best features of the Bachelor of Business? Go for it.
Sure. So there are probably three. It's our focus on employability and lifelong learning with those transferable skills that unlock a lot of jobs, both now and in the future. Flexibility and choice, so that students don't have to take a cookie cutter approach to their time at university. If they want to do something a little bit different and at their own pace, they're able to do so. And more active learning, right? Learning in context. Fantastic industry partners giving rise to great learning experiences.
Thanks, Jonathan, and thanks everyone for your questions. I think we've answered most of them today. If not, we can put it into the chat as a response. And thanks for coming along today as well and learning about our new globally leading programs, the Bachelor of Business and the Bachelor of Business Professional Practice. And don't forget, you can visit our individual discipline areas and sessions where you can hear more about the majors and minors offered in the Bachelor of Business. And if you have further questions today, you can also visit the Open Day live chat. For more information on these programs, be sure to check out the program information available on the website. And thanks for joining us this morning on the Bachelor of Business programs. Thank you and goodbye, everyone. See you later.